Hi guys, it's Shannon. Welcome back to my channel. I saw this really cute rustic barn door wood sign at Hobby Lobby and thought to myself, I am pretty sure I can recreate that using supplies from the Dollar Tree. So here is my version, and today that's what I'm going to share with you. I'm going to share the supplies that I used and how you can recreate your own farmhouse style barn door on a budget. And here is a look at the supplies that you'll need to create this project. I have some white foam board from the Dollar Tree. You'll need 5 packs of rulers. These come in a set of 2, and you'll need 9 rulers total. You also need a miter box with a miter saw, a X-Acto knife, a pencil. You'll also need a yardstick, some tacky glue, which you can also get at the Dollar Tree, some foam paintbrushes, also some dark acrylic paint. I'm using the color Traditional Burnt Umber by Americana. You'll also need some white chalk paint, a few paper towels, and last you'll need a placemat from the Dollar Tree, a pair of scissors, and a hole punch. The first thing you'll want to do is remove all of the measurements from your rulers. These are just rubber and glued on, so they come off really easy. And like I said, you'll need 9 rulers total. Next, I laid all of my rulers out in the design pattern that I wanted. So this was just sort of my planning phase, so I could figure out the measurements and how I wanted to cut these all down. The first 3 you're going to want to cut down to 11 1/4 inches long, and you're basically just cutting the holes off of the ends of the rulers for these. The next 2 you'll want to cut down to 10 inches long, and then you'll need 2 more for the bottom at 7 inches long. And here's a look at me laying them out. The first 3 are your 11-inch pieces. The next 2 are for the top, and those are the 10-inch pieces. And the last 2 are for the bottom, and those are your 7-inch pieces. The next part is probably the trickiest part, but it just takes a little bit of patience. We're going to be creating an X for the bottom of our barn door. So here you can see I'm just eyeballing about where I want my X to be. And then I ended up actually laying the rulers on top of my X. You can see that it's raised and my ruler pieces are underneath there. And the reason I did that is so I could scribe with my pencil and mark where I needed to cut those. So these are basically 45-degree cuts, which you can take over to your miter box, and it is set up for 45-degree cuts. And so you just line those marks that you can see here on those 2 rulers. You just line those lines up with the 45-degree angles within your miter box and make your cuts. Once you have your 45-degree angles cut, one of our rulers will fit nicely into place, but we still need to do some work on the second one. So I'm using some painter's tape to hold my frame into place, and again I'm going to scribe the middle section that we need to cut out so that our X will sit flush once we have it on our board. And here's a look at those marks that I made that I need to take over to my miter box and cut. Now there's no angle set up for this on your miter box, so you'll just have to carefully hold it into place and cut along the lines that you created. Once that is cut, you can take it back over to your frame and make sure that you have correctly cut your pieces so that they fit snugly together. And here I'm just replacing the rulers to the top of that so that I can measure it and find the measurements for the backer piece, which is going to be our foam board. And mine was 11 1/4 inches by 21 inches. And you actually want to cut it just a little bit smaller than that because you don't want your rulers hanging off these sides. So mine was a little bit under 21 inches by about 11 inches wide. So I just marked this on the foam board and then took my X-Acto knife and cut the foam board down to size. I also wanted to give my foam board a faux shiplap look instead of the flat foam board. So we are actually going to emboss our foam board. We're not going to cut it. So here I am marking the top and the bottom of the foam board at every 2 inches. And then I lined my yardstick up with those marks and I pushed the lead of my pencil down. And instead of using it as a pencil, I used it as an embosser and just ran my pencil to sort of emboss. See, you can see here the little indentions that the pencil had made, and it kind of gives it a nice faux shiplap look. And now I am painting the foam board with my white chalk paint. I wanted it to have a real nice rustic matte finish. And a tip for this would be to not get too much paint into your shiplap embossed lines because you really want those to stand out. So wipe your paint out of those lines and do 2 thin coats, letting it dry in between. And now while our foam board is drying, you can work on giving your rulers a faux wood stain finish. So what I'm doing here is using my foam paintbrush to brush on the brown acrylic paint. And then while it's still wet, I'm going back over it with a wet paper towel to remove most of the paint. That way it leaves a nice wood grain finish that will show through your paint instead of being a solid brown painted surface. So make sure you're doing the tops, the sides, and all of the ends of all of your ruler pieces that we cut down previously. And when all of your paint has dried, you can finally go and put your piece together. Now I'm using tacky glue for this. You could use hot glue, however, I liked the idea of the tacky glue having some dry time to it because you will have to do some adjusting here and there as you build this piece and add all of your rulers to it. So just kind of take your time putting them where you need them and adjusting them and wiggling them so they all line up nicely. Now we need to do just a little bit more painting. We're going to camouflage and help those sides of the white foam board blend in with the wood pieces. So I'm just using my paintbrush to cover up the ends or the sides of the foam board. And now it's time to work on the hinges for our door. And all I'm using here is a placemat from the Dollar Tree. And I just freehanded some hinge shapes. And basically it's just a rectangle with 2 rounded corners, and then I used my hole punch to create the screw holes, and then I had to cut it down just a little bit to make sure it would fit nicely on the door and on those rulers. And then once I had it the right size, I traced that and cut out and repeated it for a second hinge. And to attach the hinges, I'm using some hot glue in my hot glue gun. You could use your tacky glue for this too, but your hot glue will set up a lot more quickly. And now it's time to add our design to the front. This is a vinyl decal that I'll have available in my Etsy shop, which is crossinmyheart.com. I will also have it available as an SVG file and JPEG file. If you have a vinyl machine and want to create your own vinyl decal with it, Again, you can find that at crossingmyheart.com. And if you purchase the decal, it will come ready to go for you just like this. All you have to do is put it into place on your sign and then remove the transfer tape off of the top, and you're left with your beautiful wording, which is, "This is our happy place." And here is a look at the finished piece. I think it is so cute and adorable. I couldn't be happier with the way it turned out. It's so nice. I think it's great that you can find inspiration different places like Hobby Lobby and use inexpensive supplies to recreate them. And I love that you can create home decor on a budget. I hope that this tutorial inspired you. I hope you'll also take a second and give this video a thumbs up for me. That helps out my channel so very much. You can also hit the share button under this video and inspire your friends and family too. I hope you'll hit that subscribe button and stick around and join me as I bring you new DIYs, new tutorials, and new inspiration every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And also don't forget to check my Etsy shop where you can find this decal and SVG file, which is crossingmyheart.com. Thanks again so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.